Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to RobMotive. I am wondering if I have crossed a threshold with my Toyota Tacoma. You know, I don't have a ton of miles on this truck. I'm right about at 597 miles. And I know I've had it for a while. That's really low miles. And I can just hear some of the folks out there. Well, gee, Rob, don't you drive your Tacoma? Why don't you drive your Tacoma? Well, I do drive the Tacoma. It's just that I have two other vehicles that I split time with it. If I didn't have those, I'd probably have somewhere around 2,000, 2,500 miles, something like that, which I realize is still low. But honestly, I work from the home. I don't have to drive to the brick and mortar every day, so my miles are naturally going to be lower. But what am I talking about? Well, I noticed almost instantly when I took off in the truck this morning, it feels even faster and more responsive, even better acceleration, which is really strange. You know, I have the Pedal Commander on this truck. This isn't an advertisement for Pedal Commander, although I highly do recommend it. And there is a discount code down below, save 30 bucks. But anyway, that took care of the throttle lag, gave me the best acceleration that I think you can get out of the Toyota Tacoma. But something more has happened today. And I don't know if it's a function of the weather, the humidity, the dew point, you know, all of those things affect the way that your truck runs. I don't know if anybody else has ever noticed this, but I have. As the seasons change, it seems to run differently. And some of that has to do with the gas blend as well. Of course, we changed gas blends for winter and summer. Down here in Texas, I believe they do that as well. Maybe not because we need to. I mean, it's not like we've got freezing temperatures down here or anything like that. It does get a little bit cooler, but I imagine they change simply because that's what the manufacturers produce. So they're not going to produce special blends for just South Texas. You're in essence going to take what they make, if you will. But it's very strange to me because the temperature today here, it's 86 degrees at 8:46 in the morning. It's supposed to be over 100 degrees here today. High humidity, high dew point, bright sunshine. You would, not that the sun really affects any of it, except for the heat from it, but you wouldn't think that would make a difference. If anything, you would think it'd be the other way around. I've noticed with other vehicles in the past that they always seem to prefer somewhere in the 65 to 70 degree temperatures, something like that, with low humidity and lower dew points. They just seem to fire the gas a little bit better when it's like that. Maybe it's because the engine doesn't get as hot, although I wouldn't think that would matter. Certainly the engine is hotter, obviously, than what the outside temperatures are. So I think it's probably more a function of humidity and dew point, maybe even barometric pressure. I suppose you could do a study, dive deep into this if you're of meteorological, that's hard to say, inkling, but for me, it's just what it feels like out cruising around in the truck. I have to say, and again, this is really odd, even the suspension feels a little bit smoother, if you will. Now that I could see as being a function of the temperature, because obviously the hotter it is outside, the more flexible and the more flexible the suspension is going to be. You know that if you've lived in a cold weather area where it's 20 degrees with wind outside or something, you get in your vehicle and it feels like you're driving over potholes all the time. It's just much rougher when it's colder outside. Everything gets more brittle, right? But I'm wondering, does Toyota really have some sort of a program break-in period? You know, I don't believe this to be true at all. I do know some manufacturers do it with higher end vehicles. Take the Corvette, for example. If you get the hopped up Corvette, maybe even not the hopped up version, it will actually limit the revs, the RPMs, things like that, so that you give that motor, that engine rather, enough time to break in properly. I think it's like 500 miles, 1,000 miles, something like that. My stepbrother actually has had one, and he had the same thing. You kind of have to break it in before it will give you its full potential. Like I said, I don't really believe that Toyota does anything like that, but it might just be that it takes 500-600 miles, something like that, before everything kind of seats in and meshes. The computer figures out how you're driving rather, because it does kind of adapt based on your reactions and because it does kind of react based upon how you drive the truck. It kind of learns what you're doing. If you don't know that, disconnect your battery for a while, get back in, and then see how much different the truck feels. At least I've noticed this. Maybe it's just me. I tend to be hypersensitive with those kind of things, and it's possible a little bit of that is in my head. I don't know. Anyway, I love it. It's much better, I think, than it was even before. Very strange to me. Now, do I think that it will somehow lose lack of acceleration or lag after that break-in period without something like the pedal commander? My answer to that is absolutely not. Before I discovered the pedal commander, I have had other Tacomas, of course, and they never changed. They were laggy and slow, doggish, if you will, always from the beginning. Now, full disclosure, I also have an open intake on the truck. I got rid of the OEM cold air intake, the box, if you will, and I put an open intake in. You can see it right here. Does that make any difference? It does give me more sound. You know, I had mentioned on the channel many times that I didn't see any real purpose in putting an intake on the Tacoma because I never really got anything out of it. And honestly, all I was really looking for, and I shouldn't say I didn't get anything, I got one of the things I wanted, and that was aesthetics. I wanted it to look good. I wanted to be able to pop the hood and see that cool looking cold air intake under there, which I got before, but nothing else ever until this one. This is a rough country. I really think it's just a rebranded K&N. And it makes a difference for sound. And that was always the other thing I was trying to achieve, was better sound in the Tacoma. And I have to say, it is much better in this truck with that open intake. And this is the first open air intake I've put into the Tacoma. I've always gone with the closed box cold air intakes. Now, some folks have said, well, that's no good. You're just sucking in warm air from the hood or underneath the hood. Well, that's true. You probably are getting air that's a little bit warmer. You also do have it being fed by that inlet that would have fed the cold air intake, the OEM version. So there is still cold air coming in where that filter, if you will, or that intake sucks air in. So I don't think that's as big of a deal. I have paid attention to the temperature gauge just to make sure really that I wasn't somehow making the truck run hotter. In other words, if I saw that needle move, I would have taken it out. I would have gone back to either the stock or maybe a different aftermarket true cold air intake. But I've not noticed that. I haven't seen that the truck is running any hotter, anything like that. Anyway, I just wanted to get on, kind of share that with you guys. I was really surprised this morning when I jumped in and the truck just felt better. It just felt more powerful for some reason. Does Toyota really have a programmed break-in period where it holds the truck back? I don't think so, but I don't know. Leave a comment. Let me know if you've noticed this. After 500-600 miles, something like that, the truck just seemed to feel more responsive. I'd be curious to know. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Bye.